A reading from the 11th chapter of John. There was this guy, his name was Lazarus. He lived in Bethany with his sisters Mary and Martha. Mary was the one who's going to wash Jesus' feet later with perfume. Okay, so her brother Lazarus was sick, really sick. So the sisters sent a message to Jesus, saying, "Lord, the one you love is really, really sick." But when Jesus heard it, he said, "This illness doesn't lead to death. Rather, it's just for the glory of God, so that the Son of God may be glorified through it." Jesus also loved Martha and her sister and Lazarus. But after having heard that Lazarus was really, really sick, he stayed for 2 days longer in the place where he was. Then, after this, he said, "Hey, disciples, let's go to Judea." The disciples again said, "Rabbi, or teacher, the Jews were just now trying to stone you, and you're going there again? Really, this isn't going to end well." Jesus answered, "Are there not 12 hours of daylight? Those who walk during the day do not stumble because they see the light of the world, but those who walk at night stumble because the light is not in them." After this, he told them, "Our friend Lazarus has fallen asleep, but I'm going to wake him up." The disciples said to him, "Lord, if he's fallen asleep, he'll be all right." Jesus, however, was talking about the fact that Lazarus had died. But they thought he was talking only about sleep. Then Jesus said really frankly to them, "Lazarus is dead. For your sake, I'm glad I wasn't there, so that you will believe me, but let's go to him." Thomas, who was called the twin, said to his fellow disciples, "Let's go, that we can die with him too." Wah, wah. It's true, Jesus was going to die, just, not yet. When Jesus arrived, he found that Lazarus had already been in the tomb for 4 days. Super smellyville. Now Bethany was near Jerusalem, some 2 miles away, and many of the Jews had come to Mary and Martha to console them about their brother. When Martha heard that Jesus was coming, she went to meet him, and Mary stayed at home. Martha said to Jesus, "Lord, if you'd been here, my brother wouldn't have died. But even now I know that God will do whatever you ask of him." Jesus said to her, "Your brother will rise again." Martha said, "I know that he's going to rise again in the resurrection on the last day." Jesus asked her, "I am the resurrection and the life. Those who believe in me, even though they die, will live, and everyone who lives and believes in me will never die. Do you believe this?" She said to him, "Yes, Lord, I believe you are the Messiah, the Son of God, the one coming into the world." When she had said this, she went back, called her sister Mary, and told her privately, "The teacher's here, and he's calling for you." And when she heard it, she got up quickly and went to him. Now, Jesus had not yet come to the village, but was still at the place where Martha had met him. The Jews were with her, because they thought that she was going rather quickly, so she must be going to the tomb to cry. They wanted to support her. When Mary came where Jesus was and saw him, she knelt at his feet and said to him, "Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died." When Jesus saw her crying, and the Jews who came with her also crying, he was greatly disturbed in his spirit and deeply moved. He said, "Where have you laid him?" They said, "Lord, come and see." And Jesus began to cry. So the Jews said, "See how he loved him?" But some of them said, "Could not he who opened the eyes of the blind have kept this man from dying?" And Jesus again was greatly disturbed. He came to the tomb. It was a cave, and a stone was lying against it. And Jesus said, "Take away the stone." Martha, the sister of the dead man, said to him, "Lord, already there's a smell, and it's really, really smelly, because he's already been dead for 4 days." Jesus said to her, "Did I not tell you that if you believed, you'd see the glory of God?" So they took away the stone. And Jesus looked up and said, "Father, I thank you for having heard me. I knew that you would always hear me, but I have said this so that the crowd who's gathering, so that they can believe that you sent me." And when he said this, he cried with a loud voice, "Lazarus, come out!" The dead man came out, his hands and feet bound with strips of cloth, and his face wrapped in a cloth. And Jesus said to them, "Bind him and let him go." Many of the Jews, therefore, who had come to Mary had seen what Jesus did, and they believed in him. This ends the reading.